Welcome to our deep dive into one of the most enduring mysteries of our time, the Loch Ness Monster. For decades, the enigmatic creature known as Nessie has captivated imaginations and sparked countless debates. Could Nessie be a prehistoric plesiosaur that somehow survived extinction? Or perhaps a shape-shifting Kelpie from Scottish folklore? Some even speculate it might be a colossal sea serpent or another yet-to-be-discovered creature. Today, we'll explore these theories and more to uncover what Nessie might really be. Over the years, numerous sightings have added to the mystery of the Loch Ness Monster. From the famous surgeon's photograph in 1934, which was later debunked, to the 1960 film by Tim Dinsdale showing a moving hump, these pieces of evidence have both fueled belief and skepticism. More recent attempts using sonar and underwater cameras have yielded intriguing but inconclusive results. Keeping the legend alive and well, each sighting and piece of evidence has contributed to the complex tapestry of the Loch Ness Monster's mythos, making it a subject of fascination and debate worldwide. The Plesiosaur theory. Plesiosaurs were marine reptiles that thrived during the Mesozoic era, roughly 66 to 200 million years ago. These fascinating creatures are renowned for their distinctive physical features, most notably their long necks, broad bodies, and four large, paddle-like flippers, which made them highly efficient swimmers. The size of plesiosaurs varied significantly across different species, with some being relatively small, measuring around 2 meters in length, while others were true giants, exceeding 15 meters. Plesiosaurs were well adapted to various aquatic environments, ranging from shallow coastal waters to the depths of the open ocean, where they preyed on fish, squid, and other marine organisms. Proponents of the plesiosaur theory highlight several compelling points. First, the descriptions of the Loch Ness Monster often include a long neck, which is a striking feature of plesiosaurs. This similarity has led many to speculate that Nessie could indeed be a surviving member of this ancient group. Additionally, the geological history of Loch Ness adds an intriguing layer to this theory. It's believed that Loch Ness was once connected to the ocean through a series of waterways. This historical connection suggests the possibility that marine reptiles, like plesiosaurs, could have migrated into the loch and become isolated there, adapting to its freshwater environment over millions of years. This scenario, though speculative, provides a tantalizing explanation for how such a creature could exist in Loch Ness today. Despite the allure of the plesiosaur theory, it faces several significant challenges. One of the primary issues is the improbability of plesiosaurs surviving millions of years past their presumed extinction. The drastic changes in the Earth's climate and ecosystems over such an extended period would have posed extreme challenges for the survival of any species, let alone a large marine reptile. Additionally, the biological and ecological demands of sustaining a viable plesiosaur population in a relatively small and isolated environment like Loch Ness are highly unlikely. Plesiosaurs, being large predators, would have required a substantial and consistent food supply. Based on estimates from similar marine reptiles, a large plesiosaur could have needed around 30 to 50 kilograms, 66 to 110 pounds, of food per day. This would translate to approximately 18 tons of fish and other marine life annually. Given the estimated biomass of Loch Ness, which is about 100,000 tons of fish, the presence of even a small population of plesiosaurs would place enormous pressure on the ecosystem, potentially leading to a significant depletion of available resources. Loch Ness, although vast with a surface area of about 56 square kilometers, 22 square miles, and a maximum depth of approximately 230 meters, 755 feet, does not provide the same rich, diverse ecosystem found in ancient marine environments. The relatively limited variety of prey and the cold freshwater environment would present additional challenges for a plesiosaur's survival and reproductive success. Moreover, plesiosaurs were marine reptiles that lived in saltwater environments. Loch Ness, however, is a freshwater lake. While some species, like the bull shark, have shown the ability to survive in both saltwater and freshwater by adapting their physiological processes, this is relatively rare and typically requires specific adaptations. For a plesiosaur to transition from a saltwater to a freshwater environment, it would need to undergo significant evolutionary changes, particularly in osmoregulation. the process by which organisms maintain the balance of salt and water in their bodies. The likelihood of such a large marine reptile adapting to a freshwater environment like Loch Ness is low, especially without any evidence of intermediate populations or evolutionary adaptations. Furthermore, the absence of concrete evidence, such as physical remains or definitive fossil records in the loch, presents a substantial hurdle. No bones, teeth, or other remains have been discovered that can be conclusively linked to plesiosaurs in Loch Ness. Scientific criticisms also emphasize the lack of compelling proof that plesiosaurs, or any large marine reptiles, could have endured unnoticed into modern times. These criticisms make the plesiosaur theory one of the more contentious and debated explanations for the Loch Ness Monster, highlighting the need for further investigation and evidence to support such claims. The Kelpie theory. Kelpies are mythical creatures rooted in Scottish folklore, often described as shape-shifting water spirits inhabiting the lochs and rivers of Scotland. These supernatural beings are typically depicted as powerful horses that can transform into human form or other creatures to lure unwary travelers into the water. Kelpies are known for their deceptive beauty and strength, and they are often associated with danger and malevolence. The folklore surrounding Kelpies serves as a cautionary tale, warning people, especially children, to stay away from dangerous waters. The legend of the Kelpie is deeply embedded in Scottish culture and history. Tales of these water spirits have been passed down through generations, often serving as moral lessons or explanations for unexplained drownings and disappearances. Kelpies are a prominent feature in Scottish literature, art, and oral traditions, symbolizing the untamed and mysterious nature of the country's waterways. Statistically, Scotland has over 31,000 freshwater lochs, which could explain the proliferation of water-related myths and legends, including Kelpies. Proponents of the Kelpie theory draw parallels between Nessie sightings and the descriptions of Kelpies in Scottish folklore. Both Nessie and Kelpies are said to inhabit the deep, dark waters of Scotland and exhibit an elusive, mysterious nature. The long neck and serpentine form, often attributed to Nessie, resemble traditional depictions of Kelpies in their aquatic form. Historical accounts of water spirits in Scottish lore further bolster this theory, suggesting that Nessie could be a modern interpretation or continuation of the Kelpie myth. There have been numerous documented accounts of Kelpie sightings throughout Scottish history. For example, in the 19th century, a series of alleged Kelpie sightings were reported around Loch Ness and other Scottish lochs. These accounts often described a creature resembling a horse, emerging from the water to chase or lure individuals into the depths. Such stories were often recounted in local newspapers and oral traditions, adding to the mystique and fear surrounding these water spirits. Additionally, the cultural significance of Kelpies in Scotland lends credibility to the idea that Nessie is a folkloric manifestation rather than a biological entity. However, the Kelpie theory faces substantial counterarguments. One of the primary issues is the lack of physical evidence supporting the existence of Kelpies or any supernatural beings. Unlike cryptids that might leave behind biological traces, Kelpies are thought to be purely mythological, and their existence cannot be substantiated through physical means. Additionally, the mythological nature of Kelpies makes it challenging to reconcile their existence with scientific understanding. Kelpies, being shape-shifting spirits, are inherently fantastical and do not adhere to the natural laws that govern biological entities. Thus, while the Kelpie theory provides a rich cultural and historical context for the Loch Ness Monster, it ultimately lacks the empirical evidence needed to support it as a plausible explanation for Nessie. The Kelpie theory, while intriguing and culturally rich, serves more as a testament to Scotland's rich folklore and the human tendency to create stories to explain the unknown. The lack of tangible evidence and the mythological nature of Kelpies highlight the differences between folklore and scientific inquiry, making the Kelpie theory an interesting but scientifically unsupported explanation for the Loch Ness Monster. The sea serpent theory. Sea serpents are legendary creatures found in the myths and folklore of many cultures around the world. These mythical beasts are typically depicted as enormous, snake-like creatures that dwell in the oceans, often characterized by their long, sinuous bodies and fearsome appearance. Sea serpents have been a part of maritime lore for centuries, with sailors and explorers recounting tales of encounters with these monstrous beings. The descriptions of sea serpents vary, but they are generally portrayed as large, powerful, and capable of causing significant disturbances in the water. Proponents of the sea serpent theory argue that the descriptions of Nessie closely match those of traditional sea serpents. Both are said to have long serpentine bodies and to exhibit elusive, mysterious behavior. Historical accounts of sea serpents span various cultures and time periods, from the Norse Jormungandr, the world serpent, to the Greek Cetus and the sea serpents mentioned in medieval European chronicles. These widespread tales suggest a common motif in human storytelling, which could extend to the Loch Ness Monster. Historical accounts of sea serpents include notable examples such as the sighting by Hans Egede, a missionary in Greenland, in 1734, who described a creature with a long, snake-like body and a horse-like head. Another example is the HMS Daedalus sighting in 1848, where the crew of a British naval ship reported a large serpent-like creature off the coast of Africa. These and other accounts contribute to the plausibility of sea serpent-like creatures existing in unexplored waters. Despite the compelling nature of sea serpent stories, there are significant counter-arguments to this theory. One of the main issues is the lack of concrete evidence supporting the existence of sea serpents. No physical remains, such as bones or scales, have been found to substantiate claims of these creatures. Another critical point is the distinction between marine and freshwater habitats. Sea serpents, as their name suggests, are typically associated with the ocean, whereas Loch Ness is a freshwater lake. The ecological requirements and physiological adaptations needed for a marine creature to survive in freshwater are significant, making it unlikely that a sea serpent could thrive in Loch Ness. Misidentifications and exaggerations in eyewitness accounts further undermine the sea serpent theory. Many reported sightings of sea serpents have been debunked as misidentifications of known marine animals, such as large eels, whales, or floating debris. In conclusion, while the sea serpent theory provides an interesting perspective on the Loch Ness Monster and draws on rich maritime lore, it faces significant challenges in terms of ecological feasibility and lack of concrete evidence. The new cryptid theory. While many Nessie sightings can be attributed to known animals, natural phenomena, or hoaxes, there remains the tantalizing possibility that the Loch Ness Monster could be a unique cryptid or an undiscovered species. Cryptozoology, the study of unknown animals, often deals with creatures that have not yet been recognized by mainstream science, but are reported in folklore and eyewitness accounts. The idea of Nessie as a unique cryptid suggests that the creature might be an unknown species that has managed to evade scientific detection. This possibility is supported by the fact that new species are discovered regularly, even in well-explored regions. For instance, deep-sea exploration frequently reveals new marine species, many of which have unusual and surprising characteristics. The depths and vastness of Loch Ness, combined with its dark and murky waters, make it a challenging environment to explore thoroughly, potentially allowing a unique species to remain hidden. Modern technology, including sonar mapping and environmental DNA, (EEDNA) analysis, has not yet provided conclusive evidence of a large, unknown creature that we know of. While these methods have detected various known species, including eels and fish, they have not revealed any signs of a large undiscovered animal. The giant eel theory. One of the more plausible alternative theories is that the Loch Ness Monster could be a giant eel. European eels, Anguilla anguilla, are known to inhabit Loch Ness, and while most eels are relatively small, there are occasional reports of exceptionally large specimens. These eels have long, serpentine bodies that could account for some Nessie sightings, as they can appear as large, undulating shapes when they swim close to the surface. Eels have a complex life cycle, which includes a long migration from their spawning grounds in the Sargasso Sea to freshwater rivers and lakes in Europe, including Loch Ness. Most European eels are relatively small, typically measuring between 60 to 80 centimeters, 2 to 2.6 feet in length. However, there are reports of eels growing much larger, sometimes exceeding 1.5 meters, 5 feet in length. In rare cases, eels have been documented to reach lengths of up to 2.3 meters, 7.5 feet. The biological feasibility of the giant eel hypothesis is supported by the presence of eels in the loch and their ability to grow to significant lengths under the right conditions. Eels are known to be highly adaptable and can thrive in a variety of aquatic environments, including deep, dark waters like those found in Loch Ness. Their long, flexible bodies and undulating swimming motion could easily be mistaken for a serpentine creature by an observer. In addition to anecdotal reports, there have been sonar contacts in Loch Ness that suggest the presence of large eel-like creatures. For instance, in 2019, researchers using sonar technology detected a large, unidentified object deep within the loch. The object's size and movement pattern were consistent with those of a giant eel, lending credence to this hypothesis. Furthermore, a 2020 study led by geneticist Professor Neil Gemmell analyzed water samples from Loch Ness for environmental DNA, eDNA, and found a significant amount of eel DNA, indicating a large population of eels in the loch. While the giant eel hypothesis does not provide a definitive explanation for all Nessie sightings, it offers a scientifically plausible account for many of the reported encounters. The presence of large eels in Loch Ness, combined with their distinctive serpentine appearance, makes them a strong candidate for some of the mysterious sightings that have fueled the legend of the Loch Ness Monster. This hypothesis is further supported by the adaptability and resilience of eels, which could allow them to thrive in the unique conditions of Loch Ness. The sturgeon theory. Another compelling theory suggests that the Loch Ness Monster could be a sturgeon. Sturgeons are large, ancient fish that belong to a family of species that have remained relatively unchanged for millions of years, giving them a distinctive prehistoric appearance. These fish are characterized by their elongated bodies and bony plates, known as scutes, along their backs, which can create a humped appearance when viewed from above. Sturgeons are known for their impressive size. Some species, like the beluga sturgeon, can grow to over 5 meters, 16 feet in length, and weigh over 1,000 kilograms, 2,200 pounds. Their size and unique physical characteristics make them prime candidates for mistaken identity when it comes to sightings of large, mysterious creatures in bodies of water. While sturgeons are typically found in coastal and estuarine environments, they have been known to venture into freshwater lakes and rivers, especially during their spawning migrations. Several species, including the European sturgeon, Accipenser sturio, and the Atlantic sturgeon, Accipenser oxyrhynchus, historically inhabited rivers and lakes connected to the sea, making occasional forays into freshwater ecosystems. Loch Ness, with its deep, dark waters, could theoretically support a transient sturgeon, especially given its past connections to the ocean. The sturgeon theory posits that occasional sightings of large sturgeons in Loch Ness could be mistaken for a mysterious creature like Nessie. The combination of their large size, armored bodies, and the way they move through the water can create the illusion of a serpent-like or humped creature. Despite these compelling points, the sturgeon theory faces challenges. The primary issue is the current rarity of sturgeons in European waters, making it less likely for one to be present in Loch Ness today. Additionally, there is no direct evidence, such as confirmed sightings or captures of sturgeons in the loch, to support this theory definitively. In conclusion, while the sturgeon theory does not account for all Nessie sightings, it provides a scientifically plausible explanation for many encounters. The physical characteristics and historical presence of sturgeons in Scottish waters make them a viable candidate for some of the mysterious sightings that have contributed to the legend of the Loch Ness Monster. Hoaxes. Over the years, several famous hoaxes have contributed to the Loch Ness Monster legend. One of the most well-known is the surgeon's photograph from 1934, which purported to show Nessie's long neck and head, but was later revealed to be a staged hoax using a toy submarine. Such fabrications have muddied the waters of legitimate research and fueled both skepticism and fascination. Another significant hoax was the 1972 underwater photo taken by Robert Rines, which appeared to show a flipper of the Loch Ness Monster. The image gained significant attention, but was later revealed to have been enhanced and manipulated, casting doubt on its authenticity. This incident highlighted the lengths to which some individuals would go to fabricate evidence, further complicating efforts to study the phenomenon scientifically. In 2001, two men, Dick Rayner and Maurice Burton, created a fake Nessie using a floating log and a plastic model to demonstrate how easily sightings could be fabricated. They placed the log and model in the loch and photographed them from various angles, showing how deceptive images could be produced. After analyzing all the possibilities, we have presented the most plausible explanations for the Loch Ness Monster. From the giant eel hypothesis to the idea of a new or unidentified creature, each theory has its own supporting evidence and reasoning. Now, it's your turn to decide which theory you find most convincing. We invite you to participate in our poll and share your thoughts on the mystery of the Loch Ness Monster. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the mystery of the Loch Ness Monster. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who love a good mystery. Until next time, stay curious and keep questioning.